So this is it. Lockdown is finally coming to an end here in France, and in 2 days' time I will be leaving this incredible place. What a fantastic 2 months I have had here. From when I first arrived in my tent, what I pitched next to the river, was cooking with fire and sleeping through sub-zero nights, to living the good wagon life that I have been in this trailer here behind me. But most importantly, having the opportunity to just experience and develop relationships with the incredibly warm, hospitable, and just extremely kind people that are here. It would just not have been the same without them. For everything, for just the food, the incredible conversation. I've learned so much French. I never thought in my lifetime it would be possible for me to learn as much of another language that I have done. And sure, I'm just looking forward to continuing to develop this new language skill that I've started. And I hope in several months to actually be able to have a good, full conversation with somebody in French. So it's something to aim for. And speaking of goals, I've not only been developing my understanding of French while here, I've also been keeping up with a good exercise regime. So I've been training most days, training endurance, training strength, training cardio, and it's also something else that I'm gonna continue as I move on. One thing that I honestly haven't been so good with has been the diet. Now, I've been having a couple of cheat days here and there, so mostly eat well during the week, but when the weekend comes I'd head down to Aldi and buy a bit too much chocolate, if I'm honest. So it's definitely something I'm gonna need to rule out. So what I have been doing over the last couple of months is building disciplined steps into my routine. So for example, the first one was to just cut out alcohol and cigarettes altogether. They're gone. They weren't doing anything for me. And if I'm really gonna get out here and experience everything life has to offer, then I don't need my senses dulled by alcohol, cigarettes, or just feel that dependence or reliance on a substance for anything, to feel like I'm having a good time or to satisfy a craving. It's just absolutely ridiculous. So step one was alcohol and cigarettes. They're just not a part of my life anymore. Step number two is to start integrating a good exercise routine. After 2 months, I believe I can say that I have developed the habit and routine now, and I believe it's now time to move on to the third one, which is going to be that healthy diet. Because much like after smoking or drinking, you feel pretty rough. We've all had a hangover, and it's the same when you eat a bar of chocolate, when you eat a bag of crisps. Afterwards you just feel awful, and I don't want that anymore. That's not doing anything for me. So that's definitely going to be the third step on this self-improvement journey that I'm also on. I'm not just out here experiencing life, I'm on an internal journey as well. Right, so before I blabber on too much, I know it's been about 2 weeks since my last video, and in the meantime I have been doing a bit more work and have actually finished the bar. So the last video was just the walls. In this video it's completely finished. So let's roll through a couple of the odd jobs I've been up to over the last 2 weeks. before we move on to see the final result of the bar, I wanted to take this opportunity to briefly describe and go through how I feel this whole lockdown scenario draws some very close parallels and is a rather good analogy for that of, well, the whole experience of life. And what I mean by that is, on one hand, in the lockdown, there was, one option, which was listen to the people listen to the politicians, listen to the crowd and the majority of people, play it safe. For me, that would have been return home to England, return home to somewhere familiar, somewhere safe, somewhere that was perceptually secure. And on the other hand, there was the choice of remaining here in somewhere that I was not familiar with, somewhere uncomfortable, somewhere where there was no perceived security or, any kind of patterns. Now, because it is just within our nature to be pain avoiding, we are, after all, pain avoiding creatures. It's how we evolved, it's why we're here. The whole first case scenario is very much one that is intertwined with our kind of natural primal instincts, though that drive us to wanting to be secure. But now these same instincts are the ones that lead us to live extremely dull, monotonous and mundane existences. Now, I was very much a victim of following scenario one for an extremely long time. The drive to leave behind that familiarity and that security is, far less than our actual desire to go and explore the world and create those memories. And a lot of us, again, like I did, was very much trying to kind of satisfy that craving by going on 2-week holidays, a weekend escape here or there, or having small experiences just to try and escape. And actually, yeah, I'm a little late to the party, but now I just kind of see how actually choosing the familiar and the unknown in scenario two, like I have done staying here, actually leads to far more rewarding and exciting and wholesome experiences. Ultimately, we can make that decision, but it's a difficult one to make because it's against our nature. But in the end, it will leave us with those rich experiences, just like the ones I've had here. Now, if I think back to the crossroads I was at 2 months ago, where I could have gone home, what that would have led to would have just been 2 months of staring at a computer and sitting in a room. I wouldn't have grown as a person. I would have stagnated. I would have remained still and ultimately been a lot less happy than I am now, because I have grown. I've formed new relationships, I've learned new things, and this has all come about because I wasn't afraid to face the unknown. And ultimately in the end, as I said, this draws a very close kind of relationship with the story of life. I feel, for those people who want to play it safe the entire times, when you arrive at the end, yeah, you've arrived, you're safe, but has it been that much of a worthwhile experience? Do you have any memories to look back on? Have you grown? Sure, you've got the house, you've got the room, you've got that small, safe, secure place, but you've traded that for who knows how many wonderful experiences. And yeah, this whole experience that I've had has just instilled so much faith in me to trust the flow of life, the universe, and just to go with it and continue to grow and see where it leads, and just be confident that it's all going to work out in the end, because, you know, ultimately something's going to get us. And hell, even though I'm a little late to the party, I'd rather be making the most of the time I have. So no regrets. So for those of you that are new here, we're just going to spend the next 30 seconds or so going through some of the memories that I've made while I've been here, as well as seeing a few of the odd jobs that I've done and the mark I've left on this place. So here we go.
Rapidité, coup d'un putain.
Anna, do you one more time?
Have a good trip. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes, okay. Hello, bye-bye.
Bye.
See you soon. Good trip.